Good evening, everyone. Today is Friday, September 8th, 2023. Welcome to the Dani Perro Show here at the studio tonight. We are live in the studio with Jack Morrowin. Lovely to have you here, and we're excited to talk about the amazing Lakewood Renaissance Fair today. Just want to make sure, did you find it? Not yet?
No,
you get it?
It did not come through.
Okay, I'm going to try to see. Christopher, can you send him the link, please, so he can share it?
I want to share this with all 5 people who are going to look at it on my page.
All right, so we're excited to have you guys here tonight. We're going to be talking a lot about this new event coming up following weekend, if I'm not mistaken. It's next Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
Right, September 16th and 17th. I thought it was the 15th first, but then I had to change my post. Yeah. And it is the Lakewood Renaissance Fair. So what is your role in this amazing journey?
So the fair itself has been around for over 40 years, and for the last 5 or 6 of those, I've been the entertainment coordinator.
Okay.
And the MC on the main stage. So now, the fair had run into where it almost didn't happen. There were some things that were going on, so it got turned over to me. So I am now the new director of the Lakewood Ren Fair. So I am now running the entirety of the fair. And I got the link. Good, I could share it.
Perfect.
I will share that momentarily. But yeah, I am now the director of the fair overall, so I oversee everything. And there's an entirely new team in place because there's no way I could have done this all on my own.
Of course.
And I probably
you need some teamwork to try to help and put you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And the right head.
Absolutely. Between the entertainers that are coming back and the new ones, and the vendors and the team that has been behind me helping to promote this event and everything else, it's been a very interesting ride. But yeah, that is my role, which is strange for me because it went from me. I would help coordinate things for the entertainers, and I would write the schedule. But it went more from me taking direction from the administration to now being the one to give the direction, which is, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It was definitely different. Yes.
Did it feel overwhelming?
It was at first. It was very overwhelming. And I'm sure the team, once they see this, they're going to be sitting there nodding their heads, because there was a lot of people who I was on the phone with, some very specific people, my wife included, who saw me go through a lot of stress from it. Specifically with just trying to get everything set up. It was the setup process that was the most stressful. But now that it's getting closer, rather than being nervous or overwhelmed or terrified, it's being replaced with a lot of excitement. I'm really looking forward to what the fair is going to be.
So did you also have to do rehearsals for this? Did you have to do auditions for people?
Not so much auditions. The way that the entertainment vetting process is, I've seen the entertainers in certain aspects with musical people we wanted to bring in. For example, I just posted about a harpist that's coming back. He's been with us for, I think this is his 3rd year as well.
Okay.
He's amazing, and they have samples. He had samples of his music online, so I was able to give a listen, and I was like, absolutely want to bring him in. His name's Matt Schwartz, or Schwartz. He's coming back. We have an additional fire act, and again, I've seen her perform. I've seen her. She sent me videos of what she's been working on, so I've seen what she's doing. We have an aerial act, which is the aerialists are where they set up the rigging.
Okay.
And they do things on silks and on other things.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. So we have a lot that's
luxury.
Yeah. But I've seen they have their demonstrations. So not more or less like a live audition or calling people into a location to see it.
Yeah.
But having seen them videos online, what they've done, where they performed at other performances, other gigs,
Like
which
checking
allows
in
me
to make sure that
yes.
you can see what they crowd audience they do and stuff like that, of course.
Exactly.
Because that's really big on your part as well.
And pulling in local talent or new talent. This year, the most recent one, we have a 13-year-old violinist who has performed.
Was that the girl that you just posted?
The one that I just posted about, yes.
What is her name?
Her name is Raylan. I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Okay, I think it is Raylan. I forgot her name. I was going to ask you about that, though.
No, that's fine. But I want to make sure that I am pronouncing it correctly. But she is actually the newest performer joining us, and I was super excited that she's going to be here. Yes, Raylan.
Yeah.
Good, I did get it right.
Good memory.
So not only the newest, but the youngest entertainer that we're going to have, with the possible exception of every year we've had the Fitzgerald School for Irish Dance.
Ooh,
They come every Sunday. They perform at 2:30 on the main stage, and those girls have an age range that ranges from young to old, but they to young to like teenager. But they come every year, and they it gives the girls a chance to perform on a stage in front of an audience. And they put on a great show every year. Every year they put on a phenomenal show. So we're lucky to have a lot of returning people come back. I'm going to be posting progressively throughout the week and the weekend, trying to highlight the vendor coordinator. Her name is Trinity. She's going to be putting out a list of vendors, because we have a lot of wonderful vendors too. A lot of handcrafted
like
stuff.
Food trucks and stuff.
Not just the food. There are returning food. We have there's the water ice. I want to make sure I get everyone's names correctly.
No problem. You need to pull up your list of everyone.
I do. I have.
Shout out so everybody knows who's going to be there, what kind of food and everything is going to be here for this event.
Was actually on the phone. I was just on the phone with him the other day, because he was. I just know it's to the right of the stage where he sets up.
Kana? Okay.
Not Kana.
All right. Then I don't know. I can't think of another Italian ice place. Scars? Nope. No. No, I can't think of one. But he's just getting the information everyone needs.
I'm just trying to find, because I was like, I just spoke with him.
I told you I'm going to stump you on the show.
You were, which is fine. That's
in the beginning,
fine.
though, I didn't even give you a second. No.
Oh, this is going to bother me.
Okay, so we have Italian ice. What other food trucks do we have? But just so you get their information.
The men's club every year provides hamburgers and hot dogs. They also assist with the parking and run the 50/50.
Okay.
There is, we're actually getting turkey legs this year.
Okay.
From Maggie's, who is right next door.
Did you not have turkey legs before?
We used to.
The Renaissance Fair should have them.
They used to.
Okay.
And for some reason, it's no longer there. It wasn't there for a while, and we have a guy, Will. He actually works with the jousting team, the Knights of Valor, who I'll talk about them in a second, but he's been helping me out a lot as well. And he has actually made contact with Maggie's to bring in a beer truck, which they haven't had for a while, and turkey legs.
Okay.
So the turkey legs are I want to say they're new this year. We used to have them apparently at the fair, even prior to me having been there.
I would feel like you should, because I hear Renaissance or like medieval, I'm sorry, you need, a turkey leg or anything, old-fashioned eating with your hands type of thing.
Yes, and turkey legs are kind of a staple. But they, for whatever reason, just they weren't there. So unfortunately, it went out. They stopped. I don't know. Was it
pandemic or maybe?
No, this was pre-pandemic. It was. I don't know exactly what had happened, but the not having had them was definitely something popular, and we wanted to bring it back. So yeah, I want to know if he messaged me on my personal Facebook. I've talked to people via my personal Facebook, my magician Facebook, and my...
Because it's very confusing when you're running something like this. You want to also make sure you have just remember who you're talking to and what account. And I'm sure it's very confusing like that.
And the list is, the vendor coordinator has kept a very detailed list.
Which you have access to as well, or she keeps you in the loop?
No, we both have access to the same thing, but it's on a Google Drive with a spreadsheet and everybody who has been invoiced. Yep. So she's been making sure that She's been making sure that everybody is kept up to date. She's been keeping in contact with everybody, making sure that everybody is in the loop. Set up with setup times and everything happening as early as the day before, right about noon, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
That's when the vendors can actually come in and yeah,
Set up and get everything
set up,
together.
make sure everything is.
So tell me how, before we get to the vendors, I want to talk a little bit more about the weekend. So tell me how mid-Friday probably, is that when everyone's going to start getting like
Midday Friday is when
situated?
a lot of the vendors do show up. Some of them do show up Saturday morning.
Okay.
But they show up really early. We usually clear out at about 9:30.
Okay.
Because gates open at 10.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
So
What time is the admission?
The gates open to the public at 10, and it goes from 10 to 6 both days. It used to be different times during the day, but that got changed about 2 years ago. So now it's open till 6.
Okay. And with that being said, also for the times for the event, what are the admission prices? Is there a fee to go into the Renaissance Fair? Is there a parking fee as well?
Not a parking fee so much. It's I would say more of an entry fee.
Okay.
So it covers your parking. You come in and it's the ticket price. So ticket price is $15 for adults, and that's anyone 13 and up. There's $10 for seniors, and that's 65 and older. That $10 is also extended to military veterans, active military and military veterans alike.
Okay.
And then children 6 to 12, it's $5, and then children 5 and under is free.
Okay. So
And
you have
it's
different
Sweet
types of
Tooth
things.
in Vineland.
That's the name of the
Sweet Tooth in Vineland is the name of the water ice.
Okay, it's water
guy.
ice.
I was like, I'm positive it's him. I just went through the messages. But he's been there, ever since I was there. And I would MC and announce vendors and different people. And not because they asked me to. I just wanted to spotlight them throughout the day.
Of course.
And now I get to spotlight them on the Facebook page.
So with your role being said, the director, MC, kind of your foot in every door of the the industry that you're in currently, regardless with you also having a fun closing with you being the magician too, Jack Morrowind, do you feel like this role for you to put on this amazing show is either overwhelming? Is it fun? Is it something you want to be doing later down the line? Like God's challenging you now, and you're like, okay, let me get used to this type of thing.
I would say that at first it was very overwhelming. But coming from one that I did not start fresh on my own, and all of the hurdles that I had to deal with and overcome and kind of learn very quickly from this experience, the benefit is I started a company at the end of July. It was July 23rd. I registered a company called Legends of Lore, LLC.
Okay.
And that company is set up to run fairs and festivals. So I wanted to make sure it was open because I didn't necessarily want Lakewood to be the only one. My focus is to get this fair. The fair has a lot of potential. There's a lot of space in that park. Mm-hmm. And my goal is to make it even bigger and better each year.
Of course.
I want it to grow and be known as one of the good fairs to go to. Like there's a lot of people who didn't even know it existed. I'm trying to change that.
Just want to say, very true to that. I had no idea that there was one in New Jersey. I only knew about the one in Pennsylvania or New York. So when you had mentioned that to me, I was like, wait, there's one in New Jersey? Because I had no idea. But again,
there's the New Jersey Ren, and then there's one in Sparta, New Jersey. Both, I know people who perform at both. I know for people who vend at both.
Yes.
And very well put together events. I would like to have the same reputation. I would like to be known as this fair to be known as a great fair to go to. We have a lot of talented entertainers, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yep.
But we have. Someone actually asked me. It was one of the questions that was on the page. Said, how does this fair compare to the PA Ren Fair? And I said, admittedly, we're on the smaller side.
Yeah. Okay.
We are on the smaller side right now. It is a smaller fair.
Because you want to eventually grow and build yourself to
Yes.
a bigger, extravagant, fun fair.
Originally, it was run by a not-for-profit. It is now run by a regular LLC company,
Okay.
which can kind of change how some of the stuff works. So
Well, price-wise, definitely.
price-wise, it will.
More out of pocket
Right
than-
now, I kept everything as much of the same as possible.
Okay.
But as we grow, things will change, and
and-
I'm going to be bringing more in.
Yeah.
But I said, we have right now we have some stuff that certain fairs don't have. The Knights of Valor, I have thankfully a very good working relationship with that group. It's real full contact jousting. It's not a choreographed show. It's not a.
Wow. Oh my God, I love jousting.
It's not a story. I mean, they do the bantering back and forth, but when it comes to the joust, it's real. It's not. I'm gonna hit you. You're gonna fall off. You're gonna do this. Which again, nothing to take away, because it is hard to choreograph a show when you also have animals involved. So to be able to choreograph like what
With
you
a
see
horse,
at medieval
right?
times
Yeah.
or what you see at some other fairs, where they have to coordinate the timing not just of themselves but the
Animals.
horses they're riding, it's incredible. What these guys are doing is they're not doing a choreographed thing. When they get hit, the lances are not designed in a way to fall apart, to break. They are solid lances. So when they break, I believe Shane has quoted it's like 1,200 pounds of pressure or more.
Ooh.
So it's like they're getting into a car accident every single time they hit. So if a lance breaks, it's a real legitimate break. If a guy falls off the horse, it's a legitimate, he was knocked off the horse.
But are they okay afterwards?
They are okay.
Or is there like people on standby if anything happens?
There are. They have a really, really phenomenal troupe. They're the knights on the horse. They're the squires that help get the lances ready for them, make sure that the gear is ready for them. They are protected with the armor.
Okay. Which is good.
They still feel it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I'm
they
sure
still
they're
feel
going
it.
to.
I know.
If you fall off a horse, you're going to feel it regardless.
There's been injuries like dislocated shoulders,
no.
broken wrists. The one guy is TJ. He's known as the Mountain, TJ Duquette.
Why is he known as the Mountain?
Because he is, as Shane puts it, the largest man who does this sport. Because it is a sport. They do have tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, across the country.
Like jousting.
Actual jousting tournaments. And with him in the armor on that horse, he is 500 pounds. He is, and he is solid. He is, the other one is Larry Dupler, known as the Beast, because of how ferocious he can be. The two of them are friends.
Okay.
I've become friends with them, and those are the two main guys that joust. He has a couple other guys that joust.
Like in his group.
In his group, those are the two main ones that are usually that have always been there. I've been at multiple events that Shane has actually. I've been honored that he's brought me into other Ren fairs I perform at, so I get to be at some of the events with this same group of people.
That's
and
awesome.
it's like if you've ever seen two boxers that go at it, but at the end they hug each other. They go, "Good job."
I never
and some
see
of them
that
are,
part afterwards.
I have. I've seen it where they congratulate each other. There's no real animosity. It's a sport.
Yeah.
And in here, there's definitely no animosity because afterwards, at the end, the fair closes. We go out to dinner.
Yeah.
Like they're great guys, and
Socializing, get to know each other.
yeah, and it's not. They're used to this is the sport that they chose to do. And
But this is more also fun for them because regardless of them doing a lot of the tournaments like around the world, they also can perform it here, right, in front of people. And I'm
Yes.
sure that's also a huge fun audience for them too.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
People are like, oh my God, like they're jousting, oh my God, don't hurt each other.
It's one of the
Sensitive
reasons I
things.
always tried to not schedule anything over the joust. There were two reasons
Okay.
that I would not try to
You mean
overlap
like double
it.
book?
With certain entertainment, you can overlap if you're far enough away so that one show isn't overpowering another.
Correct.
With the
different
joust-
areas.
Different areas.
Of the-
With the joust, they draw the biggest crowd at the fair, and for good reason. It is not something people are used to seeing. It is an extreme sport. It is. It's incredible. The first time I still remember to this day, the first time I ever saw it, and you don't forget that feeling. So with watching them and knowing how intense it is and knowing what you almost feel the hits through the ground. It's unreal, and knowing the crowd they get, none of the other acts you'd be competing with that type of crowd. So the first reason was I didn't want anyone to have to compete with the crowd that goes to the joust, because even the people that did know about the fair, they all were going to see the joust. And the joust happens twice a day.
That's the biggest thing I was going to say. Mostly people would be going for.
It's the biggest area. Yeah, it's the biggest area. It's because they need the room for the horses to turn and charge down the list. That's what the field is called when they go when they compete. But the second reason that I would leave that time open was so all of us as the entertainers, we could go and watch the joust. Because we all want to watch the joust.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love it to say people go, I go for the magician, or I go for the joust. So.
But they see you afterwards.
Yeah,
so,
we hang out afterwards. Everyone is very supportive. There are times when like I said, we go to dinner or we do a little barbecue with the Knights. That's for some of the staff and that we all go to. And I've done magic for them there because they've like, oh, we couldn't make it to the show because they have to tend to the horses, and there's a lot of responsibility that they have in before the show, during the show, and then right after the show. So there's a lot they have to do. But they're an amazing group of people that put on an amazing demonstration of what a joust would look like back in that time period.
That's amazing.
So that's one of the biggest things, and I'm sure if Shane sees this, he's just going to be
nodding
along. Shane is the head of the Knights of Valor, and he runs a fair in Alabama, which I go to and perform at. But he also has helped out other fairs across the country. The one that I just came back from in North Dakota. He reached out just to give an idea of the type of person Shane is. Shane called a bunch of entertainers from all over the country. Me from Jersey, there's a guy Molotov from Chicago, there's someone from Alabama, someone from
so everybody literally
Canada.
all over the world.
He basically called people and said, are you available? And we're like, for you, Shane, we're available. Like, what do you need? And he pulled us all in. So, I mean, I got to meet even more talented people.
Extravagant fun.
And we put on the best show that we could to, this was, I think, that fair's second year, third year. It's a newer fair. And a number of us, I think, are going back again next year. But Shane is the type of person that people want to gravitate towards, and that type of energy exudes while he's hosting, because he's the one on the microphone for the joust.
Yeah.
So he's educating the crowd.
Is he the narrator?
Yeah,
or
he's
the announcer.
The announcer.
Okay.
But he's not only making people laugh, he's educating them about the joust.
People don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah, for people that don't, because they do a specific type of joust. A lot of times, the armor would be to push the lance away, and in this case, and I'm hoping I pronounce it right, the gridded Grand Guard. It's like a little shield that's bolted to their armor, and it's got raised square. It's a raised grid to catch the lance. So they're taking the shot, so that they know that you scored a point. And there's a point system.
There's point system.
It's not just a barbaric. It's not totally barbaric.
So they're not trying to just knock each other off horses.
That is, you get 10 points for that. You get 5 points for a broken lance, and you get 1 point for a good
so it
hit.
Depends who gets the most points, basically.
By the end of the round.
Now, both days are joust as well?
There are 2 jousts each day.
Okay, so 4 altogether.
12, at 12 and 4 is when we have the joust.
So it's nice that you broke it up.
Yes.
Because they need time, right?
They do need time in between. That's something I work out with. We work out with Shane. If they want to add another joust in coming years, that's something I have to discuss with him about timing-wise. But right now, at least at this fair, he does the 2 during the day.
How does the schedule work between Friday and Saturday? Is it kind of the same? Is it different artists?
The schedule. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I tried to keep the schedule almost identical. So the entertainers are used to it. The only change is, as I said, the Fitzgerald Irish Dance, they come in on Sunday. There's a group known as the Sea Dogs that actually come in and do strolling sea shanties. They're a pirate-themed group that sing sea shanties.
What's sea shanties?
Like, you know the song The Wellerman? That's come out?
The one on TikTok?
The one that everybody has been using?
Yes.
That would be an example of a sea shanty.
Okay.
There are
So
more
they're
than that.
that.
They're singing not necessarily that one, but that
different.
type of music.
Okay.
Music that you might imagine pirates singing, or
Okay. That's so
it's
cool.
like-
I've never heard of that.
oh yeah. Look up sea shanties. There's a ton of them.
Oh, gosh.
I have at minimum 5 to 6 albums saved on my phone. I'm a geek. I like this type of music.
Oh, Chris. Well, I'm sure Chris does too.
But we have that group that they only come on Sunday. Like I said, the Irish dancers come in on Sunday. They perform on the main stage.
Okay.
So that's where the main stage schedule
Is that where the
shifts.
joust is?
The joust is on the jousting list.
Okay.
In the program, the one page actually has a map. They drew it a little more to scale this year.
But people will direct you?
Oh yeah,
Like
I'm on the
something.
mic. I tell people where to go.
Okay.
There's people to point everyone in the right
'Cause I'm sure
direction.
people are going to be like, where the heck is this?
Yep.
And then, you know,
But
especially
there's.
if it's so crazy and
Mhm.
chaotic, which is what you want.
I want there to get to a point where they can't see everything on day one and they have to come back day two. I would like there to be enough to make people want to come back both days.
Eventually, do you think you would rather also do it like a weekend, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or you think just 2 days is great?
I would rather still do, I think Saturday and Sunday is fine. I would like to do multiple weekends. But that, whether I can do it in this township at that location, or there's other people who have brought to my attention once they found out I registered the company, that
Different
they have different connections. They have pieces of property that they don't do anything with between, at X time and Y time.
So you can use it to your advantage if you
yeah,
want to.
I might be
Sure,
able to bring a
definitely.
fair there.
Okay. So there's a lot kind of bubbling with this too.
Yes, which is why it's exciting.
So overwhelming and fun at the same time for you, because
it's exciting now
when
because
you also reached out to us and you were like desperately like, please let me be on the show. I need to promote this more than anything. I was like, this means so much to you. You can tell that in a heartbeat, Jack. And it's more of a situation because anyone just tuning in or just seeing the chemistry that we both have too, and you being a magician and just having fun with it, this is something you want to do. And I know you liked fairs. I know you did Six Flags and stuff back in the day, and that didn't cut it for you. That wasn't as great as what you're experiencing now. So that was like the slap on the turkey, basically. So you've got an opportunity to just branch out.
Yes.
And now I want to say pretty much you almost own it. I mean, not officially, but like direct it.
Well, it's getting to that point because it's my company who's now running it, and it's my company's bank account that's taking in the fees to be able to cover covering
well, that's what I
the.
said. For an LLC, it's more out of pocket until you bring the cost back in.
Correct.
Unfortunately.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's honestly fine. I'm
but you want to
happy
see
about
it come
that.
back. That's what you're
Eventually.
hoping to see.
Right now, my goal was to get through this year, and because I had a very limited amount of time to try and do as much as possible.
Yeah.
But at the end of this season, I'll have a whole year to prepare and do everything
Into
that
the
I
following
want
year.
into the following year.
Well, when did you get the role for that? Was it like very short notice?
So the role was, it was given to me during the summer.
Okay.
We were having because I was assisting the previous administration, and there was some hiccups that were happening and certain things that were overwhelming. Matter of fact, the gentleman Bryce, who is still a part of this, he was helping out with the layout and making sure we got the permits and making sure that he got the hay bales that we set up for the seating and everything, and he's taking care of all that. He was the original director, and there's a lot that's gone on. The gentleman who used to really run the fair, his name is Don Alamany, and Don Alamany passed away. He's the one who passed away. It's Bryce's father.
Okay.
So it was very overwhelming for him, and I had kind of busted his chops. I was like, you need to call and ask for help, which is the hardest thing to do. It was hard for me to do.
So much on by yourself because you're used to it. That asking
Exactly.
for help is hard to do.
It is, and he tried, and he did an amazing job to the best of his ability, but it did get to the point where it was too much. So to alleviate that, it was agreed that I would take over the role as director. He still was making contacts, still making sure that everything for the grounds is set. He will be there on Friday.
Okay.
I'm meeting up with him early to help make sure everything is set up.
Everything will run smoothly.
Correct.
Make sure everything is great.
Yes. So it's like I said, it's been a really wild ride to get to this point, and it was not where I had thought my life was going to go to be in charge of running Ren fairs. It was
Really?
performing at them. Yes.
Performing is definitely
Performing
huge
is
for
I am
you.
not giving up
But
performing.
running and performing, I could see you do. I could.
I do now. I didn't initially because again it was.
Your wife has to point you in the right direction for it. That's why.
I'm used to being the one on stage and writing my own show or performing my own show and knowing where things need to be for that. That's one thing. But to run a giant event like this, which takes a village worth of people, and being the person going, okay, this is what I need. Where are we on this? That's not what I was originally used to, but I fell into it and I've adapted, and I'm told I'm doing a good job, so I'm going to let those people who told me I'm doing a good job, I'm going to believe them for now.
But it sure seems like, regardless of the whole situation, if anything was not negative about this versus something that you're learning, it's a whole huge learning aspect for you. So things might not turn out amazing as what they're supposed to be in the beginning, but you just have to learn the kinks in the event.
I mean, the benefit that I have is this was a fair that has an established group that there were people that knew about it.
People still come out too because they know about it.
But to try and make more people aware of it, and to have the support of the entertainers and the people who I brought in, who knew about things coming into it, that's been great. It's like some of the stuff that we had. We have the harpist coming back, then the violinist who's new. The group Aerial Inferno, featuring Nikki. She's a fire performer. The mother of one of the aerialists also fire performs, and I'm gonna end up getting their name wrong.
No, that's fine. No problem.
This is why I have the notes.
No, you need to.
I have to keep everything.
Just
to
want to
keep
make sure you say
everything
their names correctly when they tune in.
Yes, to make sure I pronounce. It's mostly the pronouncing of the names correctly, because that's the biggest thing. So it's Nikita's the fire performer, and it's the group is Aerial Inferno. I did get that right. Yay. But yeah, it's two.
So are they all fire performers? What's the group do?
Two of them are the aerialists. And Nikita and the one woman, Anne Marie, it's Anne Marie is the mother of one of the aerialists. She's also a fire performer.
Okay. Wow, mother. Holy cow.
Yeah, well, it was she who reached out to me.
Was it like a mother-daughter thing?
Yes. So it's mother-daughter, daughter's friend who is a second aerialist, and Nikita is actually friends with the fire breather we have, and she was going to perform on her own, and then they kind of formed this group to work all together, and I've been getting updates and stuff, and watching. I've been seeing they posted videos of some of the practice things, and I'm very excited. So they're a brand new act coming in. We have two belly dancing troops, Fatine and her group, and Yame, which is Sharky Dance.
Okay.
One does the performance on the main stage. The other, there's a specific dancing stage that they also do. They were doing a belly dancing demonstration, showing not just performing it, but they try and get people up to dance with them, which is really cool. We have the Knights of Avalon. They do a little bit of a performance, and then they do something where they call the kids up to kind of be knighted. So it's an interactive show, which is great.
You need that. You need something interactive.
I'm so happy they come back,
because that definitely brings a lot more of your crowd. Well,
and they're fantastic. Again, everyone is fantastic. We have I watch all of these shows either from the back or I walk around front to watch them. So
you want to enjoy watching them. You want to enjoy everything, and you'll have like a headset thing, like just like.
I'm wired up.
Yeah. Yep. So you'll be able to understand if there's any situation.
My tech ends up wiring the stage for anyone that needs amplification, myself included. So he sets everything up for those that want it.
Or if there's any issues that happen negative-wise at the events.
Absolutely.
People try to ruin something.
But
you just need to always be prepared.
Are absolutely prepared and have the right people to make sure that things go as smoothly as possible.
Security or bodyguards and stuff?
Yep, we have security there to watch over everything. Which is good. Thankfully, we don't really have too much that gets out of hand.
Okay.
But just in case, we have the safeguards in place.
Well, just people sometimes they get a little overwhelmed. They get really excited and they over-exaggerated.
Sometimes.
So
Sometimes.
It just happens.
But we have.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So I get really excited about the entertainers.
No.
So we have the Knights of Avalon, Sylvan Fairlight, who is another magician, which people got. They were like, You're a magician. You brought another. Yes, he's good. He does kind of last year he did this like storytelling where he used the magic to more give a visual to some of the story elements and brought somebody up to like play the part in the story.
Ooh.
And it was so cool. It was so cool. And that was brand new last year, and he's coming back this year. We have Matthew Brand, the puppeteer. He walks around with puppets and interacts with the people strolling around, gets them to laugh. Last year he had a wizard puppet, and he bought a wand from one of the wand vendors, and the puppet was holding it. So the puppet was super excited to have a wand. I got a wand, and it was hilarious.
That's so good.
It was adorable. It was hilarious.
That's a huge thing, wizardry.
Yes.
Is that part of Renaissance too, or not really?
Wizardry, yes. It's Renaissance.
If you want to explain it as fast.
If you want to do historically accurate, the Renaissance. Some people have the thing where it needs to be historically accurate. It's like, no, it's a Renaissance themed environment. It's where the music is from olden time. Fantasy aspect comes with it. There is some fantasy. We have a mermaid this year. I was a part of a production.
Is she going to be in the water?
We're working on exactly how we're going to have the setup.
Oh,
but
okay.
I had worked with her, and I was in a play recently. She was one of the actresses. She is vastly talented.
I wonder how that came up in conversation. Oh,
I was talking about. It actually came up as we were talking about stuff while we were taking a break, and I had mentioned the Ren Fair, and she had Juliana. So she goes, "You do a Ren Fair?" She goes, "Do you guys need a mermaid?" That's literally how it came up.
Wow.
And I went, "I would love to have a mermaid."
Okay.
She has mermaid fit because she's done mermaid performances, so she's set.
That's perfect.
So we have a mermaid this year. So yeah, where people are like, oh, it's not historically accurate. Part of it is we do have the SCA, Society for Creative Anachronism, that is doing living history demonstrations, actually historically accurate to the time period. That is where you can, where we tell schools about this. There's the joust is accurate. He goes over what you would have seen if you were a noble in that time, and what the difference is between that and then what they demonstrate here. So there is an educational aspect as well, in a fun way. This year we actually have a siege engine, which is basically a gigantic crossbow on wheels that they're going to fire and demonstrate how that weapon is, what it looks like being fired, and give a lesson of what it might have been used for. So we have a lot of different things that are going on for that.
And all these timings are going to be within.
They're staggered.
Like you have like a flyer or a program that people get. I'm sure
they get as soon as they come in.
And then it's just going to be overwhelming.
And then they can walk
wherever they want to go.
We have a vendor walk where they can walk and do shopping and see handcrafted items by all the vendors. There's a guy that his name's Big Bob. He sells weapons. He's the weapons vendor, and they also have axe throwing. You can get up and do axe throwing at the fair as well. But the SCA does these demonstrations. They also do what they refer to as the Rose Tournament, which is, though they're not in the same type of armor that the knights on the horseback are for jousting, they do armored combat, and they have learned to do the moves. Even though they're padded weapons, they have a scoring system and where you're to take a hit and how things register, and there is a winner of that tournament, but it's also not choreographed. And it's what heavy weapons would look like. Now, granted, again, they're not using a lance, they're not using it, but the motions that they're doing and the style of fighting that they are is accurate. So they do that, and that's another historical thing. Yes, so there is the living history aspect, and there's also the fantasy aspect. Were there people who would walk around singing at these type of, back in the day? Yeah, minstrels and bards, magicians. So it's not inaccurate. Was there a wired speaker system? No, but was there someone who was playing fiddle or violin, or a group that would sing in the streets and sing for money, or the jousting that goes on, everything else. So yeah, these types of performances have been going on for hundreds of years, and it's now just, we call them Renaissance fairs or festivals because it's that medieval Renaissance-y theme. People kind of group it all together. Is it the same thing? No. Is it more of a festival? Yes. But with everything that's going on, it's just a good, fun event where you can learn something, you can pick up a unique souvenir you'd never find anywhere else, and see entertainment you wouldn't see anywhere else. And some of the entertainment, again, we have a wandering poet. He actually wanted to be overlapping the joust this year because he wanted a small, intimate group on the main stage where he's doing a show called Heart to Heart with a Wandering Poet. But this man can come up with a poem on the spot about anything.
That's
He's
amazing.
a true master of verse, wonderful human being. He's been there for years, and but he never had like a show. And I talked to him this year, and that's what he wanted to do. And I was more than happy to schedule a spot. We have Pokey Poke the Jongolier. He does a combination of a little bit of fire, a little bit of whip artistry, a little bit of magic, a little bit of everything, and wildly entertaining.
I love their names.
he's
Their names are just so extravagant for the whole.
He's actually one of my children's favorite shows to see every year. My family goes because I'm there.
Yeah.
But they love his show. They make it a point that they go to his show. He performs right in front of the main stage because rather than be on the stage, he wants to be down on the ground, real intimate with everybody. And again, his personality, his wit, his humor, his delivery of his lines. When the year we came back from COVID, we have a parade, and he had injured himself. He couldn't perform his show. We still wanted him in the parade.
Yeah.
And he brought it's similar to a trumpet, but it's basically it's a horn.
Okay.
And he kept playing this weird sounding note, and he kept playing. It was just this weird, and he would just hit it, and people would look, and he just goes, like you didn't try to pick up a hobby during quarantine. And I'm sitting there, and the person next to me she was playing playing a recorder, giving some of the music, and I just looked at her afterwards and said, "How did you keep a straight face during this whole thing?" She didn't break or anything. But he'll be coming back, which is great.
Where exactly is this also in Lakewood? Is it in a park?
It is. It is
Okay.
Pine Park, which is 500 Country Club Road
Okay.
in Lakewood, New Jersey. So it is almost the entirety of the park. There are certain spots that aren't currently being used, which gives me ideas for additional staging areas to bring more entertainers in. But yeah, it is 500 Country Club Road in Lakewood, New Jersey, which is right next to Maggie's and the golf course. That's
Okay.
right there. But yeah, it's and September 16th and 17th from 10 to 6.
That's next weekend.
Mhm.
Everyone that's tuning in, it is next next Saturday, and it starts at 10.
It opens at
The
10.
doors are 10.
Doors are 10.
Now people can come throughout the whole day, correct?
Oh yeah, they don't have to show up at 10, but we do have a little bit of an opening ceremony. And again, shows go throughout the whole day. So you might miss a show that happens earlier, and you won't be able to see it unless you come back the next day.
The next
So it's
day, 'cause
good to get
kinda
there early.
Similar
Mhm.
schedule with both. That's why.
The ending shows,
Yourself.
the shows, I go at the very end. I do a magic show at the very end. But right before me is someone who's become a very, very dear friend of mine. He goes by Needles the Dragonborn, and he is the fire breather.
Yes.
Now
we were
this
talking about
man,
off air.
yeah, we were talking before we started. This man has control over fire like I've never seen before.
That's so scary at the same
He's
time. But cool.
it's terrifying, but terrifying and beautiful and intense and fun. He does routines to music. I mean, this man, fire staff, fire torches, fire everything.
Yeah.
Breathing the fire and fire eating and. But he also does the thing like he's done glass walking and the blockhead stuff. Like he does what is known as, it's been called in the past, it's been called geek magic or sideshow magic. He's doing the sideshow performances that have been going on again for hundreds of years in different aspects, but where a performer could put themselves seemingly through an immense amount of pain and come out of it seemingly unscathed. He is an incredible performer and also just genuinely one of the nicest guys to ever meet. They're just...
And it's fun that you get to socialize and interact with everyone, too.
I have the most unique friends in the world. I have the most
You have
talented
so many
friends in the
different,
world.
like, names for everyone. I'm glad you know them as their performer names and then their real names.
I do.
Or you
The
probably
ones,
call them by
and I get even the ones I meet, like some of them would be the first year, but then their name and their performance will be ingrained in my memory, and we become friends because it's a Ren Fair family, and that's the beauty of everything is the fact that I've had the privilege to meet everybody through this event, which is one of the reasons why I didn't want this event to not happen. And the reason I was stubborn, for lack of a better term, is because this was the first fair I performed at. And I had met too many people through this event to not want to see it continue or grow specifically. I think I actually named everybody that's coming. I don't think I forgot about anyone.
No, you did.
I'm reviewing the schedule. It's like I did it all by memory.
We didn't talk about, did you have any vegetarian or vegan or gluten-free options at the
We are still trying. A couple of the trucks that we reached out to are not available. They got booked really early.
Okay.
The one that you had recommended me,
They were busy.
Umami Gorilla,
Yes.
they are booked that weekend. So I have to try and book them for next year. We
that's
are
fine.
reaching out. We're trying to have, that was the thing with the food is, yeah, there is some variety, but we want it to be able to cater to as many people as possible.
Well, you also have, do you have time within this year now, or technically you're looking into next year? 'Cause it's next weekend. Do you have time?
Right
if you want
now,
another
we
person?
have,
Or is it stressful?
it's people that we're working with to try and bring in.
Okay. Because I have another one that I could mention too for you off air.
Yeah, definitely mention to me off
Jerry's
air. I gotta
daughter
find
has
out.
it.
I gotta find out if because I know that Will, who's been trying to help with the food, might have a contact and
Okay.
might have brought someone
Which
in.
is perfectly fine.
But
just making sure.
no, giving me names is fine.
That, or
I
as
will.
long as you have French fries for vegetarians, we're fine. We just need.
I would like
somebody.
there to be more than French fries for the vegetarians of the vegans. We want
Whatever you can do.
we want this event to accommodate as regardless of what preferences you have on anything. I want everyone to feel welcome at this event, and having vegan options was definitely a way to go for that.
The big, unfortunately, right now it is like the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing
Versus
is,
like anything else.
I've had vegan food when I've done.
time
Honestly,
they have you
it's
at-
your events that I've had them at.
I know.
And there's times I refuse to believe that it is what they're telling me it is, because it does not. It's not what people, I think, assume when they hear the word vegan food.
And they don't expect it.
Yeah.
How,
People
It
don't
looks
realize
like
how
chicken.
versatile food is.
How
That's
it
the thing
tastes.
is, there's food that can be used in a variety of different ways and prepared differently.
yes.
And again, if you're enjoying eating it, then nothing wrong with that. So, but I wanted there to be options for people who do have certain dietary restrictions.
Yeah, just sometimes, or even into next year.
Yeah,
if
so
we can't this year.
we did what we could in the time frame we had this year, but for next year I have a lot more time to prepare, starting at the end of the
And
end
people
of
that you could
the
throw
event.
in and other things. Because I'm sure you have a lot of people like, oh my God, you're in charge of the Renaissance Fair. Why didn't you ask me? And then, next year.
That is the other one, because he's not a vendor, he's demonstration. So the other, he's coming back this year.
Okay.
We have a blacksmith who is doing demonstrations.
Wow.
Legitimate blacksmith.
That's
He was there last year. He's moving spots this year because he was not in the shade where he should have been last year. So this year we're putting him in the shade. But he is fantastic. He gave me it was like a rail spike that it was twisted, and the top was a polished skull, all made out of one piece that sits.
Is he going to sell
sits at
things
home.
too there probably? Or just
He will have stuff. He was originally going to have more to demonstrate, but he wasn't going to have the time to create as much as he
More
wanted
things,
to.
of course, yeah.
So he will have pieces there, but he's going to be literally making stuff right in front of people. So
Awesome. People are going to want to purchase it right away.
yeah, and
why.
that's his blacksmithing company. His business is it's Blood, Sweat, and Steel, which is it's an awesome name. It's an awesome name.
It's true though. That's
So-
exactly what a blacksmith is.
Yes,
I'm like, how do
absolutely.
you bend metal like that? It's insane.
He's
Well, it's like we use a fork. great.
Well,
Even metaphor.
Yeah. But that's, again, I said, I've come to meet these wonderful people that do these unique things. Even the vendors who make all of their stuff by hand, I've come to know them. And they didn't have that connection initially with everyone wasn't as connected. It was like everything was separate.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that everything was so separated. So I started introducing myself. Yeah, I started introducing myself and getting the vendors used to seeing me and knowing who I was, and all of the entertainers, because I wanted everyone, like, we're all doing the same event. Yes, we're doing different things, but we're all doing the same event. The event is going to succeed or fail based on the people involved.
Very true.
And thankfully, I really truly feel like I have the right people involved. And I want to continue that. So
well, I wish you so much luck. I can't believe it's honestly next weekend, which is so much fun.
Yeah, the time went by very fast. But
and it'll I'll add up officially to Saturday, where it's like you have to be here at this certain time to get everything ready and everything situated.
Yeah, and everyone will. We're all going to be there, like I said, early on Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, and we're gonna give out all of the guests who show up the best event we are capable of giving them, and I have faith in everybody who's there. I really truly do. I have faith in every entertainer. I have faith in every vendor, the team behind me. So I know I'm going to share this with them, but Bryce, for all of the work he's done with the layout and the permits, for Will and Trinity, who have both made the connections that they have. Trinity, who has Trinity's Magical Intentions. She owns a shop and she's a vendor herself.
Okay.
She has a connection with vendors, and she's been phenomenal with keeping communication with them.
And try to help with everything.
Bringing a couple vendors in and making connections even for next year to grow. And again, Will, the man's a phenomenal cook. He does the barbecue for the nights and some of the staff. We go down there, and it's his amazing cooking, and making the connection with Maggie's to bring them in and bring back some of what we lost, but also the two of them for being solid rocks for me. To hear where I was upset and nervous and not as confident as I exude normally. It was scary. I don't like, my flaw is I don't like letting people down. I hate feeling like I would be letting people down. And that was also part of my motivation for not giving up on this, is because I didn't want to let the people involved down. And them plus my wife having my back.
Faith in you. You just had to have faith in yourself.
And it was the support on Facebook when we made the announcement that I was going to be the director. I had expected the congratulations. What I was not anticipating was the messages that were like, we're behind you 100%. You've got this. We know you get it.
But that's the person that you are, so of course you should get those type of responses.
I don't like to think like that, I guess.
But okay. We have to change your mindset.
Yeah, a little bit.
We'll do that.
But
I thought I did that on my other show.
It's different being in this type of position and knowing that there's people that count on you. But the people that are counting on you, really, it's not that, hey, we're counting on you, don't let us down. It's we're counting on you, and we really believe in you.
But it's also like you all work together, right? It's not just you.
It's definitely not just me. I did a lot of work getting getting stuff set up.
Of course.
But without the team that has been there to help me, there's no way I could have pulled this off just by myself. The men's club, again, like they're doing the parking, and we did online tickets. There's a guy Ed Horrigan, who a member of the Lions, who was coordinating with the men's club in the parking. He's been a wealth of knowledge and information on how things have gone in the past to help me avoid certain pitfalls and help me prepare for this year. So everyone has provided guidance, wisdom, support, and I'm thankful for all of it. I really truly am.
Well, I appreciate you being here, and
thank you for having me.
And my listeners.
No, thank you
and everything. And seriously, it's going to be so much fun. Like I said, my father and my mom are definitely going to support you next week. They're definitely going to come. My mom was talking about it before I had to go on the show. She was like, "We're going to go," and I was like, "Yeah." So they're going to come support you. I apologize, I can't, but I'll be there in spirit next time. And I would love to, because
Yes.
it sounds like so much fun. And I'd want to dress up, because, I mean, when you go to
You
an
should.
event like that,
You should. If you come, you should definitely dress up. First time I'm literally looking at the camera.
Yeah, he's looking at me the whole time. He forgot there was
we were
camera.
we were having a conversation. But the event is again, it's Pine Park in Lakewood, which is 500 Country Club Road in Lakewood, New Jersey, and it is on this coming September 16th and 17th.
This coming Saturday.
This coming
next week.
next weekend. This coming
Not this
Saturday,
week.
not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Next weekend. And I mean, there's so much to check out and do. Don't miss out. We'd love to have you guys there.
And just give out admission prices one more time.
Oh,
for just
yes.
anyone that's
So
tuning
again, adults, which is anyone 13 and up, it's $15, and you can get them online or at the gate. I'll give you the location where to do that. It's $15 for adults 13 and up, $10 for active and veteran military, and seniors 65 and older. Children 6 to 12 are $5 a ticket, and 5 and under is free. Again, you can get them at the gate. You can also visit us at on Facebook at Lakewood Renaissance Fair. And if you, I know you'll post the link.
Of course. I'll put
and-
it on the page.
And on the Facebook page, we actually have a pinned post of the link to buy the tickets online. It's a Ticket Spice. It's a much longer website to type out, but I'm going to provide those links. I'll make sure Dani has them so that she can post them, so you guys can just click instead of trying to type it out.
And purchasing them there as well.
Yeah.
And just so you can mention to them again, you said parking is just included. in the
Parking
admission
is
ticket.
included in admission, and the prices are the same this year online as they are at the gate. I set it up, and I wanted this year to run as quick and smooth as possible. So there's no, so if you get them at the gate or you get them online, either way, it's going to be the same price. That may change for next year, so there'll be a little more urgency to get your tickets in advance, especially with some of the stuff that I'm looking to bring in for next year.
Especially if it sells out.
Yes.
Right? 'Cause we would love to have a sold out.
Absolutely.
Event.
I would
And then
love
you're just
to.
like, I don't have tickets. And
Yeah.
if you have to buy tickets from somewhere else.
But this year, yeah, it's the same price at the gate or online. So we hope to see you there. Thank you for listening.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a great event next week.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good rest of your night, everyone.